Good afternoon. My name's Susan Campbell, and I am new to this forum, and I'm new to small business. I have just, effective with the first of this month, moved into lovely office space at Brink & Sadler, and I am running a business called Safety Net Consulting. I've got some copies of my business cards, my brochure, and my curriculum vitae. Pass around and have some. What I have done in the past, back in the days when I was working for a living, I was a claims representative with Social Security Administration. I retired after 45 years of service last August 31st. Not bad for being 39 and holding. Anyway, I was a claims representative for many years, and I worked with Social Security, retirement benefits, spouses benefits, survivors benefits, and disability benefits. I worked for them back in the days when there were no computers. We wrote applications out by hand, stapled it all together, and sent it off to a processing center. Well, that changed in the late 80s when computers were introduced into the offices as well as every place else. And over the last 10, 12 years, there has been a steady push to get the public to file their applications by themselves on the internet. We stopped interviewing. I worked in the field office in Olympia for a number of years, and the last 11 years that I worked, I was at the telephone center out in Auburn, not far from the Super Mall, at the GSA Center. And when you dial Social Security's 800 number, your call goes into a center like that, where the service representatives take your initial call. I worked in a unit that started out taking what we called immediate claims from the public in telephone interviews. That very gradually decreased over the years to where we stopped interviewing the public. All we did was we got their claims that they filed on the internet, and we got them on the back end to adjudicate. I'm not a person who can sit and look at screens all day. So over the last 5 years or so, the job just started driving me a little more than slowly crazy. Again, I predate computers, and I just can't sit and look at screens all day. I genuinely missed the interviewing, interacting with people. The calls would drop into our center in Auburn from all over the country, and if you ever watch that crazy program that's on TV about the guys that run the pawn shop down in Las Vegas, this is one thing they say: they never know what's going to come through the door. We never knew who was going to be on the other end of the phone, and sometimes it was pretty routine, other times it really got quite interesting. I'm convinced that one time, I couldn't ask and it wasn't volunteered, but I'm convinced that one time I talked to a relative of Jack Ruby. So anyway, yeah, that's the story. But anyway, what I am doing now is, now that I'm retired, having spent a good 10 years watching the public disadvantage themselves by filing on the internet, I am starting Safety Net Consulting, where I want to work as a consultant, taking people's applications or advising them in a personal interview about what their options are, and helping them file the application on the internet to their own best advantage. What am I doing? In a nutshell, I am selling informed decisions. Okay?
Nice.
And that's what's missing. Now, a few years back, I'm sure many of us saw the TV commercials where Patty Duke was going on about how easy it is to file on the internet. Like I was just telling Jason a minute ago. Yeah, it's easy. Is it right? No. The overwhelming odds are it's not. Every day, I would call claimants up and say, did you know, well, first off, I'm calling from Social Security. Silence. Then I say, I'm trying to pay you some more money. Oh, then they're happy to talk to me. Every day I would call people up and say, did you know that you could make your Social Security benefits payable a month or two before you request it on your application? Oh, really? That's right. And several times a week, I would call people up, but it would be $10,000 or $15,000 in back pay that they had no idea they had coming. I have two cases that stick out in my memory. One was a man and his wife who lived down on the Gulf Coast in Louisiana. Between the two of them, they had $38,000 in back pay that they had no clue they had coming. Another couple, between a man and his wife, had $40,000 in back pay coming that they had no idea. And a few years back, Social Security made the astute policy decision that the claims representatives were discouraged from calling the claimant up to tell them that there's a more advantageous month of election out there for you if you want it. Well, put two and two together, let people do themselves out of their own money, you know. And I personally found that to be opposed to my own personal moral code, to sit back and watch somebody do himself out of $38,000 or $40,000. I asked Bob Spiker at Brink and Sadler when I was first talking to him about office space, what would happen if one of your claimants found out that they paid $38,000 or $40,000 more in taxes than they had to? Where are you going to be? It's not going to be a pretty sight. So this is what I'm doing, and I'm also available for consults with attorneys, CPAs, financial planners, and so on. Primarily family law attorneys and personal injury attorneys when they're getting ready to make settlements. One of the issues that you talk about is what's this person's income going to be? I take disability applications also, and those are very complicated. And again, people just do not understand the law. When I'd call them up when I was still working, and I'd call people up and talk to them about a more advantageous benefit scenario, first thing they would say is, I'm just not good with computers. I didn't know what I was doing. Well, I'm not really very good with computers either. Nobody's less of a geek than I am. And you can be the most computer literate person in the world. You could be Bill Gates, but that still does not mean that you know that law. Okay, I worked with it for 4.5 decades. I know that law. So I'm trying to get my name out to people, and we can sit down and have a personal interview. Because you can still do it with Social Security if you want to sit on that 800 number for 40 or 50 minutes and then have somebody fight with you because, and it's not their fault, because the people who answer the 800 number, their job description now says you push the internet, and if they don't get nasty enough with the claimant about it, supervisors are down their neck. I was also a union steward for a number of years, and I handled these disciplinary cases where people were getting reprimanded and so on because they weren't pushing the internet hard enough. So that's what they're up against, and it's not going to get any better. Welcome to budget cuts. So what we are looking at now is Social Security's what they call Vision 2025. If you Google the term Social Security Vision 2025, meaning the year 2025, this is their 10-year projection for what they want the agency to look like. Again, I was a union steward and an officer in the local for a lot of years, and we butted heads with them over this because service to the public is just plain going away. If you are one of these people that can sit there and read the tax code because you find it interesting, you're going to love this, okay?
All right, mine.
Yeah. But what they say is they want to adopt, and this is a quote right out of Vision 2025, Social Security plans to, quote, adopt an IRS business model, unquote. Their words, not mine. Now, where's the nearest IRS customer service office? If you're lucky. Well, if you can walk in, Yeah, well, let's put it this way. There used to be a lot more of them than there are now. And IRS has taken advantage of the fact that people are willing to pay accountants, financial planners, and so on to give them tax advice, all right? Unfortunately, Social Security claims representatives are probably going the way of IRS taxpayer service officers. They just plain aren't going to be there anymore. And when was the last time IRS called you up and said, Jason, you missed a deduction here on your tax return. Would you like me to put that on there and increase your rate? Me neither. All right.
And the answer is never, if you're really asking.
Yeah, exactly. Me either. So it doesn't take a mental giant to figure out that this is the direction that the Social Security Administration is heading towards also. Your customer service is going away, and you're going to have to be conversant in the Social Security law yourself in order to get your application process to your own particular individual best advantage. What's the best option for you on Social Security is not necessarily the best option for you, and what's good for you too is different for you, and it's different for me. So there are as many different correct scenarios for Social Security benefits as there are people. And they're trying to make it, Social Security is trying to make it a one-size-fits-all by getting everybody to file on the internet anymore, and it just is not working, folks. So this is the reason that I'm in business. I literally am just starting. I haven't even had a paying customer yet. So I'm passing out business cards, and keep me in mind if you know anyone who is looking at filing an application for retirement, which includes spouse's benefits or for disability benefits. I definitely want to talk to them because those applications are complicated, and if you make one wrong decision, it'll affect you for a lifetime. The question that comes to me every once in a while is, why should I pay you to do something that I can do for free on the internet or at Social Security? Well, like I discussed a moment ago, if you want to fight with them to give you an appointment in the office, okay, fine, you'll get one eventually, 2 or 3 months down the road. Otherwise, you're going to pay for the service one of 3 ways. The first and the time-honored way is you pay your taxes. Now, newsflash, there's kind of a revolt going on anymore. People don't want to pay their taxes. Well, there's cause and effect here. If you don't pay your taxes, your services go away. The second is you can pay me to do your application and do it right so that you are making an informed decision. Your third option is, yes, you can go ahead and fend for yourself on the internet, and you will pay for that decision for the rest of your life with the disadvantageous decision that you will probably make. So again, it's your money, it's your decision. Give me a call, let's talk. Okay, appreciate the opportunity to be with you today. Yes, sir.
How are you paid? Is it like a attorney maybe that takes a percentage of?
No, you have to jump through too many hoops. You have to jump through too many hoops for that. I have a flat rate for applications for retirement benefits, which means a number holder and a spouse if it's applicable. I'll do both of them for $250 on a retirement application. Disability claims, which is your initial application, plus the first stage of the appellate procedure, which is called a reconsideration. I'll take you through the first 2 steps of that on $350. And on consultations, $250 an hour.
So if there's a person just a single person that wanted to, if the couple was $250, that individual
$250.
$250, okay.
If you and your wife were sitting before me and filing an application, I'd do both of you for $250. Okay, great. Yes, sir.
Do you work with other agencies?
No, I do not. No. Somebody just asked me this morning when I picked up my brochures, oh, my mom wants to know, do you do veterans benefits? I said, I know just enough about the VA to be dangerous. So to answer your question, no, I don't do VA benefits. Civil service retirement, I don't do that, even though I get the old civil service retirement. Again, I know just about enough about that to be dangerous also. Mine was very simple, and that's all I know about. I also do not work with SSI. Social Security, since 1974, Social Security has also administered another program called Supplemental Security Income, commonly called SSI. Now, Social Security benefits is exactly that. You pay in and your earnings record produces X amount per month. SSI is a needs-based program for people who are over age 65 or blind or disabled at any age and who have limited income and resources. It is a welfare spirit program. I never worked. I did not specialize with SSI when I was working. And I'm just not interested in the program. So my expertise and my business is focused on regular Social Security benefits only. Okay? Yes, sir.
So I gave a presentation here one time, and I tried to sort of touch on the filing strategies and the law changes with that, but I'm up here trying to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean for you to like do a whole, cover all the details, but can you talk just a little bit about
Sure.
some of the filing strategies, and then also the changes that have recently been made?
Okay. There's lots of changes going on. The Bipartisan Budget Act, which went into effect last November 1st, I think it was, if anything can be bipartisan anymore. Anyway, that's what they called it. But it's commonly called the BBA. And one of the provisions was a lot of changes in these filing strategies with respect to Social Security benefits. Now, for some years now, there has been what's known as file and suspend, okay? Now, what this means is a husband and wife can choose for, usually, you both have to be full retirement age, which for people born between 1943 through the end of 1954, full retirement age is age 66. So next year it's going to start going up a little bit and so on until it reaches age 67. But whatever full retirement age was, for most people lately it's been 66. If the husband and wife were both age 66, which means if you're full retirement age, you have no restriction on your earnings. Your restriction on your earnings completely goes away once you reach full retirement age. So when you reach full retirement age, one spouse would file an application and then suspend their payments. That means that the spouse could then file an application for spouse's benefits only on that number holder's account. What's the point of that? Because once you reach full retirement age, if you did not start drawing your Social Security benefit, it increases for what they call delayed retirement credits. That means it goes up 0.2% for each month you don't draw it. That comes out to 8% a year. The delayed retirement credits can keep adding up until you reach age 70. They max out at age 70. So at 8% a year for the 4 years in between 66 and 70, that means that if you let your Social Security benefit sit there and cook until you reach age 70, it'll go up 32% right across the board.
What? Is that included in the COLA increases?
Yes, additional earnings and the cost of living increase that, and then over and above that, you have the delayed retirement credits, which can be up to 32%. All right.
How long do you have to live and keep taking that in order to?
It varies with the individual.
Okay.
Hold that thought.
At what point is it become beneficial to hold off?
Yeah, as
You
long as
can-
you plan to live until 85, live with it.
Yeah.
That's where the rubber meets the road, right there. People used to ask me, well, am I going to live that long? Sir, if I could answer you that, I wouldn't be working here. I'd take that show on the road. Anyway, that bit the dust, or it's about to. In the BBA that went into effect last November, the strategy for file and suspend is going away. Now, bear with me for a second. I have to get all the facts in a row here. You have to qualify prior to May 1 of 2016. That means if you turn 66 after the end of April, you're just plain not going to be eligible. All right? But for people who are still eligible under the old file and suspend, if you file for it, meaning if you initiate all of this, no later than April 29 of 2016, then you can still be eligible. But if you let it go past April 29, you are out of luck. So in other words, time is wasted. You only have until April 29 in order to initiate that if you're even eligible for it. But effective with this spring, that's all going away. So there's quite a few changes in what a lot of people used to view as advantages.
And so does that mean you'll be forced to withdraw at the?
No, you can still let it cook until age 70. It's just that you can't, if you and your wife were both age 66, what it means is Jason can't file his application and immediately suspend it so that Mrs. Jason can draw half of his while you both let your retirement sit there and cook and pick up that 32%. That's gone away. My honest opinion is I'm surprised they let it go as long as they did. But it's going away. The other thing
A lot
is,
of Congress people were doing that for themselves.
I've heard that opinion advanced, yes. And I think it was viewed as one of those things that primarily affects high income people as opposed to middle and not so high income people. And the other thing that is changing is for people who reach age 62 after the end of 2015, meaning January 2, if your birthday is January 2, 1954 or later, then you are just plain not going to have the file and suspend option available to you. For the people in that in-between period, what it means is some people will still have the option to draw spouse's benefits only, but that number holder, the worker, has to draw. So what it all boils down to is one party or the other would have to give up their delayed retirement credits. But it's all going away within the next year or so. Okay, any other questions? Sir?
I might be the one in the room who gets deferrals from. And so I guess what I want to know is who would be the right, like what kind of scenarios are we looking at? Like as I'm talking to people, we're trying to figure out one option versus the other, or
Anybody. If you're anybody that does not want to navigate for themselves on the internet, I'm more than happy to talk to you. Because some people have a lot of options, you know, like we've just been talking about. Other people just say, hey, I don't have that much money. Just take my application. I just don't know that I'm making the right choice on the internet. Because in addition to when you make benefits payable, sometimes it's what type of benefit do you file for. Another thing that I saw happen quite frequently when I was working is a lady who doesn't have much of a work record. She turns 62 or 66. She files an application for retirement benefits on her own work record. She gets $400 or $500 a month, okay? One of the questions they ask you about on there is about current and prior marriages, okay? And if there was a prior marriage that ended in divorce, if that marriage lasted at least 10 years, meaning if your 10th anniversary came and went before the divorce was final, then the option of filing on that spouse's account exists. The other is if you are widowed, and the 10-year, meaning if the marriage ended in death, then you don't have to be married 10 years.
9 months, right?
That's right. Yeah, you've been reading this. Anyway, in that scenario, I called this lady up and said, you know, you've got a husband who passed away 20-some years ago, and she'd never remarried, and she would get $1,500 a month on his account as a widow, okay? Well, I thought it's because he died so long ago, it doesn't even make any difference. Okay, this is the kind of misinformation that is out there, and that's why I'm in business. I don't want to see people do themselves out of their own money, especially when the people working for the agency are being dissuaded from calling them up and telling them this. You know, and you really can't blame them either because, you know, there's young people out there that are trying to get promoted, and one of the things that gets you promoted is How fast do you get those things off your desk? Well, you picked the wrong month of election or the wrong type of benefit. Well, I've got to stack this high. Too bad, so sad. Next claim, please. Okay, and that's unfortunate. And I personally found it against my own moral code to do that. So maybe mine didn't move as fast as some others, but people got their money. And again, they knew better than to lean on me about it. But anyway, that's what I'm about, and that's what I'm trying to do. So anybody who's interested, or if you know anybody that's interested, you got my cards, you got my CV there, you got my brochure. Definitely, give me a call anytime. Let's talk. Thank you again so much.